Hey guys, DREDDY here, bringing you another Magic Online Prelim run, this time in Modern, with blue-black control featuring special new guest Jace Reawakened, who is hopefully going to put some Tibble to Cosmic Imposters into play. So I've messed around with this deck a little bit as kind of a more Grixis version. Here I am running, a Xander's Lounge and a Steam Vents. Oh no, let's re-add that Steam Vents. But I am not playing any other red cards. This is purely just if we get the hard cast of Valki. I thought the mana was pretty bad playing Grixis, just having to shock so much. And I didn't think that, Flame of Anor was an amazing payoff for Jace. And I didn't feel like Tishana's Tidebinder was so good in the deck. Those versions aren't running Bowmasters either, so I decided to go back to an older idea that you used to see on Magic Online a little bit, where you have Bowmasters, One Rings, and Sheoldreds as kind of the sort of reason to be black over another color. Fatal Pushes and a couple Edicts to round out the removal suite. And then obviously Valki is a black card, but hopefully we won't be casting it very much. And one of the ideas I had here was, Jace, I'm only playing 3 copies here, but it's blue, works pretty well with pitch cards. So I decided to go with some Forces and Subtleties, and then we're rounding out the playsets in the board here. Trimmed down on Lorien Revealed a little bit, since we do have Jace. It's possible there should be a second one here, but I didn't want to go lower than 3 Jace in the deck. And then we got 4 Counterspell as well, 4 Archmage's Charm, making up the main deck. In the sideboard, you got a pretty. I pretty much just ripped this from a previous blue-black control list someone was playing, so you're not going to see anything too spicy or special here. Just counterspells, interactive elements. We got a couple of Wraths here, but this run is basically an experiment to just try another shell for Jace Reawakened and Valki in what I think is a pretty decent sort of control deck from having played it in previous seasons. So let's see how it goes. See you in round 1. Alright guys, welcome to round 1 here, this prelim. Winning the die roll, always nice. And our hand not looking too exciting, but we can't really throw it away when we have Preordain. I'm going to start here, I think, just with the basic island. There's no reason that we need to shock in a Watery Grave here, and we can have the opportunity on a future turn to get one of our blue-black Surveil lands. Opponent mulligans to 6. GM 95, not familiar with this player, don't know what they play. As I said previously, this is pretty much an experiment. I don't know how it's going to go. I wouldn't be surprised if this deck is a bit of a disaster, but I do think the Jace Valki thing is for sure worth exploring. Preordain, I mean, I'm going to keep Fatal Push here. It's just a great addition to the early game. And I think I keep the Preordain as well. I'm going to put them on top like this, just so if we get, Grief Scammed or whatever, we'll at least top deck the Fatal Push and be able to kill it. And this also allows us to evoke our Subtlety if they grief, so we can consider doing that. Okay, we have Arid Mesa Go, which I think everybody knows is a classic sign of burn. I think I'm going to go Island Preordain here. Don't really want to keep the Preordain in my hand in case they tap out for turn 2 Eidolon or something like that. In case I don't want to Fatal Push it for some reason. And I don't think there's really a reason to hold up Counterspell here. Could not be Burn, of course, could be Creativity or any number of decks. But either way, this doesn't look too bad. Second Valki, definitely don't want that, but I am happy to have a Counterspell. So again, another blue card for Subtlety, if that's what we need. Okay, we might get a bit more information now that they're fetching. And it is a Xander's Lounge, so I'm going to assume this is Creativity. Could be an Omnath deck. We didn't see Kahira or Karuga as the companion, though. And we see a Boseiju, so again, I would say this is likely to be Creativity. In which case, I would think we have a pretty good matchup. I'm going to get an Undercity Sewers here. We do have the red source for the far, far future where we do need it, so no reason to think about getting Xander's Lounge. And against this deck, I gotta think Archmage's Charm is a good draw, so we are going to keep that one. And I'm going to shock in the Steam Vents and pass the turn here. So we're very well set up. We got some card draw, we got multiple counter spells, a removal spell option against Creativity. And it is a Dejuice, so again, that pretty much confirms that it is Creativity playing, you know, a card that you would only ever really play in Modern 2. If you could make use of the clue token. Although I haven't really seen Creativity play this card too much, to be honest. Renin 6 is good enough to eat a counterspell. Do I want to be mana efficient and use our Archmage's Charm here? Or do I want to save the higher value card in order to use it later? Given that we have a subtlety for another Planeswalker, like a Teferi or another Renin 6, does that impact things at all? I'm not sure. I think I'm just going to use my mana here and just counter it with the Archmage's Charm. That allows us, if we draw a Jace, for example, we can play Jace, plot the Valki, and hold up Counterspell on Creativity, which we wouldn't be able to do if we use the Counterspell here. And we draw the One Ring. That's a great one. We can happily tap out for it because since it gives us protection, it means that if they make an Archon next turn, they don't get the trigger. So, you know, they can certainly still go for it, but less attractive for them to do so. And that's just going to start drawing us a whole hell of a lot of cards. So even if they do make their Archon here, it will hopefully be not too hard for us to find an answer. They're going for Teferi. May as well subtlety this, right? Because otherwise the counterspell is dead in our hand anyway. We're not going to be able to get rid of it for quite a long time. And we do have the One Ring in play to recoup the card disadvantage pretty quickly. And they put Teferi on the bottom of their deck, so we don't have to deal with that. Pay the Ring's price. Devastating 1 life loss here on turn 5. Let's draw some more cards. Archmage's Charm and a Bowmasters. Both are pretty nice. And I'm trying to think, am I likely to want to use Fatal Push and Bowmasters on their turn? It seems pretty unlikely. Like playing Basic Island seems like it would just do the same thing here. But it's possible we don't use all of our mana at all, and I'm happy to get another Undercity Sewer here. I think either of those would be a fine play. I don't think it makes much of a difference. Okay, Wooded Foothills and pass. So I'm guessing their hand is full of things like Reprieve, Lightning Bolt, maybe Prismari Command. I've seen decks like this play Mana Tithe. Okay, and let's get another Undercity Sewers, get some more Surveil value. These cards have been absolutely ridiculous for me in Modern. I think they're so good. And Lorien Revealed is not one I'm very interested in at the moment. I think we can just throw that away, and I'll play a Bowmasters end of their turn. Means we're not able to kill a dwarf token with it, but we do still have a Fatal Push in hand, and I just want to use some of our mana and start getting a little pressure going on the board here. Lose 2 life to the Ring, going down to 13. And we find an Edict. It's nice. Draw 3 cards. So the ring has drawn us 6 cards already. Absolutely ridiculous. Thank you, J.R.R. Tolkien, for bestowing us with such a beautiful mythic rare magic card from the Lord of the Rings set. Okay, opponent goes to 14. Gets a dwarf token. And I'm happy enough just fatal pushing this. We're still holding up Archmage's Charm and removal spells here. Now, they could have Spell Pierce plus Creativity here. They don't shock, and they're just passing the turn again. Okay, interesting. Do I want to draw cards here with my Archmage's Charm? I don't think I do. I think I just want to pass and just have more permission, considering we're just drawing so many cards here with the ring. Let's draw even more. And we do find Jace this time. So, I'm going to cast Jace. And we will plot our Valki. Play a Polluted Delta. And attack. Kind of an interesting one. I mean, I could, try to play a second ring here just to get us out of sort of burn range. Might not be the worst idea in the world. We could get double bolted, I suppose. But again, we do have multiple counter spells here. Let me think about it for a second. We would still have a Fatal Push. But that doesn't work against the clue token, obviously. So let's just go to discard and discard a ring. And see if we can win next turn. Just leave mana up for permission. Okay. And they're thinking about it. They must have the creativity here, right? And they do go X equals 1. So let's try and counter it. They have a reprieve here, slightly annoying, but we can still kill the Archon after it resolves if they top out. Although can we? Because I'll be taking 4 from the ring. I didn't think about that. Okay, they do have reprieve. Does that actually leave us dead? Did I? Because I forgot the damage from the Archon. Okay, we get a Bowmaster trigger. It's able to kill the 1/1. Oh, well, I don't have to fetch this turn, actually, right? I can just wait till I untap. And that will put us on a lovely 1 life. So we will sacrifice our Orc token, and we can discard a Preordain. We get a trigger. Set a stop in my upkeep here, just to make sure I don't screw something up. And they might be thinking about bolting us here. I wouldn't be too surprised. But yeah, we go to 7. We'll be losing 4, going to 3. And what I can actually do here... Okay, go to 3. Draw for turn. I can try just casting my Tybalt here, making sure it resolves, right? And they are going with a Spell Pierce on that. Suppose we can draw a bunch of cards in response. Okay. Let's pay for Spell Pierce. Now I just want to make sure I don't screw something up here. I could have waited and played the SHEOLDRED actually before I activated the ring. That might have been better. But let's exile their Archon, because this loses to Force Negation if they have it, but I just don't think they can really have Force Negation in their main deck, right? That would just be so strange. So let's play our second ring. Don't need to draw a card from it here. I think that would be a little bit aggressive. And I can plot my other Valki here, just to get that going. And you know, they could have Bitter Reunion and Persist in their deck and stuff, but we have the ring protection, so we don't have to worry about that for a turn. So let's put them to 10, go to discard, and we can discard a SHEOLDRED and a Fatal Push. We still have another Fatal Push. And here we do have a bunch of counter magic for their lightning bolts or whatever. So Wrenn and 6, getting a fetch land would let them cast another creativity. I think it's quite likely I want to subtlety this. We just have so many cards and there's not too many targets in their deck. So let's just use our subtlety. There we go. And sorry, we have the little bug there, and they put Wrenn and 6 on the bottom. And what I want to do here is get at least another land into play. So let's go Surveil. Force Negation is a good one. We can keep that. And I'm happy to leave this one uncracked. So we're doing this. We don't take any damage. First things first, I will try and resolve SHEOLDRED. It does resolve. Let's plus our Jace, because we can then respond with the ring at instant speed. If they try to do a bunch of stuff involving bolting us here, we'll do the sorcery speed one first. They're going with a Leyline Binding. So if we let this resolve, it's going on what? It's going on the SHEOLDRED. I think I'm happy just countering this with Counterspell. Thinking about discarding. I think we can just discard the land. Okay, and now we've gained 2 life. I feel like I'm out of burn range pretty successfully. Yeah, we go up to 6. Exile the top of each player's library. Drawing it to Fairy is pretty nice. Although we're not really in the zone to cast it. We do have our other Valki still plotted, but no reason to cast that. So I think we just say go. I do have mana up for removal as well as casting a Force Negation for free here. So I think we should have pretty much closed the game out here. And they are cycling. They're going to lose 2 life to that. That's fine. And we get a Bowmaster trigger off that as well. Possible I would want an Urborg in this mana base, man. I don't know. Just with all the dodgy life loss stuff, it would be nice to maybe leave some fetches going cracked, especially because you kind of want to wait on them sometimes when you have the Surveil lands, you know. X equals 1 on our SHEOLDRED. I will just Force Negation that. Yeah, that works. And that should be that. We're losing 1 life to the ring here. Go to 5. Draw for our turn. Gain some life. Once again, just activate Jace. Yeah, we can discard a Bowmasters. And attack for lethal. Okay, so game 1 in the bag against Creativity. Again, I think pretty good matchup. In terms of stuff they can do post board, I wouldn't be surprised if they do have a creativity list where they can switch up what creature they get. I wouldn't be surprised to see them go for the Terastodon plan against us and just try to blow up our lands early. Force negation obviously seems very good against them. We need to be able to stop them landing Teferi for the most part is a big deal. Stern Scolding obviously doesn't do anything. Cling to Dust, it didn't look like they had any persists or anything like that going on, so not really interested in interacting with the graveyard. Edict is nice, it kills their planeswalkers. Let's cut at least 2 pushes here to start with. So I'm kind of interested in these 3 cards so far. Brazen Borrower, bouncing clues and stuff. I think it's a little cute. It does bounce Leyline Binding as well, but for the most part, I don't really think this card is great against them. Same with Dress Down, they still have an Archon in play, right? Even if you dress down, so I don't think this card is that exciting. Maybe more exciting if we see they do sideboard into Terastodon or Iona or something like that, right? But at the moment, I think I'm mostly looking at cutting a couple of Fatal Pushes to bring in these 3 cards. Subtlety, not amazing against them either. Stops them getting Teferi down, stops them getting Wrenn and 6 down, but the Force Negations do that anyway, so maybe we want to cut all the subtleties. Let's say we're bringing these in. That still does leave us with 1 slot to consider. So this could be a Brazen Borrower, could be a Dress Down, could be a Subtlety, could be a Fatal Push. I think all these cards are probably reasonable against them. I like it being a blue card. Not that the black cards are very good anyway, but just because it will pitch to our Force Negations. And I think I'm going to make it a Brazen Borrower. I think just having this as kind of the fun of one of in the deck, it can be a blowout maybe if they think they're safe going for it on a clue token or something along those lines. Okay, so they're on the play, obviously. Hand is not really ideal here. Untapping a Jace with Manamo doesn't really do much. And we are basically just relying on this Preordain to get us going, considering we can't use the Jace until turn 4. We do have access to a Surveil land, probably on turn 2. But I think 5 lands is probably just too much. They don't have very fast starts either, though. I think I'm going to keep this given the fact that we do have access to the Surveil land. I'm sure people are screaming at me watching this, but 7 cards is just an extra card compared to 6 cards. How can you ever mulligan, right? Okay, and given that we drew Counterspell, does that change what I want to do? I don't think it does. I think we just Preordain. And Archmage's Charm and SHEOLDRED. I mean, gives us a curve, right? Archmage's Charm is something we can plot with Jace if we want to later on. Maybe it's a little bit early to want the SHEOLDRED. At the same time, though, if we counterspell something next turn, charm something the turn after that, and then just slam the SHEOLDRED, that could just win the game. But I think we should find better stuff to do than that, especially when we have Jace in our hand. We should probably be looking for a Valki if we are considering, keeping a win con like a SHEOLDRED. Digging for a Valki is probably just a little better. Okay, Xander's Lounge, not ideal. How much are we worried about a Fable on turn 3? Not very worried, I think, because we can just steal the token with Archmage's Charm. In all likelihood. If I don't do it this turn, when will I have the chance to actually play this Xander's Lounge? I mean, we have so many untapped lands anyway, it's probably just doesn't matter, actually. So, here, I'm probably just going to play a Delta and pass, actually. We can threaten Bowmasters, and I can consider countering a Fable if they play one. Looks like they're going maybe for a Dejuice here. No, just fetching, okay. So they do have domain now, we gotta remember Leyline Binding. Okay, they draw their basic mountain, doesn't really matter against us. And they are plotting a Pillage the Bog, okay. I was raving about this card in Pioneer when our opponents were playing it against us on Nivtalite. It's going to be pretty good here too, like assuming they play a land next turn, they get to plot this, look at the top 8 cards, so should make it very consistent for them to find creativities. That said, this is an expensive way to spend their turn 3, I would say. Very awkward colors for creativity to cast as well, black-green. Okay, and this Preordain, I don't think I'm interested in. Let's get rid of it and just look at the redraw. We do find a Sheoldred anyway. Okay. So play Manamo here and pass just to leave us having Archdruid's Charm up rather than playing the Swamp. You know, I don't want to shock in the Steam Vents. Not really much point doing that. And we can consider just cycling the Xander's Lounge too at end of turn if nothing happens. But given the fact that, yeah, they can cast this for free, I would imagine they're going to find something to play this turn. Okay, we have a Scally turn, and we do just have them passing the turn. So I am going to cycle. Okay, another land, not so bad. We do find the ring. And I guess here I'm going to play our Jace. If they counter it, I think I have to just let it get countered and hold up an answer for creativity. Spell Pierce, and yeah, this is the awkward situation where you have to just let the Spell Pierce work, right? If we don't, I could always draw a Force Negation with Jace and have an answer. But I think we have to just let their little 1-for-1 happen here and pass the turn. Last turn they didn't have anything to do with the extra mana anyway, so in that case it doesn't really matter that they traded up in mana, since, you know, they're not using the rest of their mana anyway. So even though it feels bad to be able to pay for the Spell Pierce, sometimes you just gotta let it happen, I think. The real heads-up play would be if we didn't have interaction and they did that, you know, scared them off casting creativity. But I don't think I'm that big brain a player, or that brave a player maybe would be more appropriate. Okay, and no land drop, no play. So 6 lands, but all reactive cards. Kind of interesting. Kind of annoying that I can't play my basic Swamp here, given that I might want to use 5 blue pips with this hand. Okay, and again, they just have no play, even end of turn, no deduce, no cycling on anything, and they find their 5th land, okay. So, I mean, we're still just hitting our land drops here, at least. Get some value from our Surveil. Find a Force Negation. How much do I care about a second Force Negation? I think I want it because it lets us just jam something next turn, jam the ring or something. Yeah, I'll just do this, jam the ring. I am noticing that I'll have to speed up a little bit. We're significantly behind our opponent. I think commentating a control deck here has slowed me down a little bit. I'm not usually behind on the clock and Moto, so... Okay, and we'll just let that happen. We can try and cast it again next turn, and we'll leave Counterspell up. So their hand must just be full of things like this, I guess. They're thinking. So given that they can have Spell Pierce, I could just start with a Force Negation when they go for this creativity. How many white sources do they have? 2. But they're using one of them. And they have no blue source, so okay, we just get to counterspell this. They could have Veil of Summer, I suppose. They do, so let's force their Veil so they don't get to draw a card. Let's keep Archmage's Charm, it's just more proactive. They're down to 5 cards, still a lot of cards, still a lot of cards. Okay, drawing a land is nice. Play the One Ring. And we can draw a card. Find an Edict, which is nice. Okay, so end a turn, then I can Manamo the Ring and draw another card if we don't use our mana. So that's pretty sweet. Wrenn and 6. How much do we care about Wrenn and 6? They have been missing land drops. And this leaves them with not enough mana to creativity. So I'm inclined to counter this, to be honest. I don't really care that I'm missing out on a card from the ring. They could have another Veil, which would be annoying. That would kind of make sense given how passive they've played this game. But they don't actually have green mana, so okay, now they have a Spell Pierce, okay. But they won't really be doing anything too impressive this turn, having used most of their mana. But they are going to start hitting those land drops again. They get a Scalding Tarn, they play it. Shocking a Stomping Ground, so we're probably seeing a Fable as well. Pick your poison. Okay, so they get rid of our ring. And no other plays. Let's get good old SHEOLDRED down. We can pass the turn, holding this stuff up. I mean, like 6. They're still 2 lands away from hard casting an Archon. I could have made them sacrifice Wrenn and 6 there, but I prefer to leave up this removal. Yeah, sure. Return the Scalding Tarn. Play it. So we have the Fatal Push for the token here. I could also play around a second Veil of Summer by casting SHEOLDRED's Edict, because this doesn't target, it says each opponent. So that would be a way for us to beat that. But that would lose to Spell Pierce. We've seen 2 Spell Pierces and 1 Veil of Summer. I feel like they should have like 2 Veils max. Okay, that won't work anymore anyway, because they now have 2 tokens. Creativity for 3, huh? Okay, well... Okay, now they can't Spell Pierce us, so I may as well use the SHEOLDRED's Edict. Just in case their last card, or one of their last cards is Veil. And let's see what we hit off this SHEOLDRED. We hit a Bowmasters. So that's kind of annoying for them, because I get the token, and now I get to just sacrifice my army token. Yeah, and get another one, because they drew a card. And we do get to untap and see a top deck, and it is the One Ring. Listen, this is what they call whitelisted, right? Opponent just fell off their chair after seeing that top deck. Okay, and let's draw right away. We find a land, and let's draw again right away. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, let's preordain. Just look for some answers. And a second ring, that doesn't really do a whole lot. But we do have a couple more SHEOLDRED's Edicts we can find. It would be nice to have access to a Snapcaster in this deck. It's not really using the graveyard. So that might be an addition we could consider. Just maybe one copy for the future. And the ring protection is great here. Obviously, we're only taking 6. They don't even... Oh, we're not taking 6. What am I talking about? We have full protection. I was going to say the trigger doesn't go off. But, of course, they also just don't get any attack damage either. Okay, we surveil. What are they doing? Killing our token in response? Drawing a card, sure. Don't want to draw another land. Lose 2 life. That's a disaster. How will we ever recover from this? Okay, finding SHEOLDRED is pretty nice. Gonna play this land. Let's play our SHEOLDRED. Untap our ring. Draw more cards with our ring. So we've gained a bunch here. And I do have a 3-mana Otawara that I can use maybe under beginning of combat or something like that. Actually, I have to go to discard, so let's just do this now. And we can pass the turn. They will be able to hard cast it or something again, but I'd prefer just not to lose a card. Okay, they surveil. Down to 7 minutes on the clock here. I'm not really too worried about the clock situation. I might just have to speed it up and stop talking as much. Okay, let's go. So they can recast an Archon here, but I do still have Force and Negation for any non-creatures. Kind of tying them into not using the Fable here as well. So it's a little irritating for them. And with this guy, you know, they'll have to minus the Renin 6 on it to get rid of our SHEOLDRED. You know, by replaying the Archon. This is our second SHEOLDRED gone, though. Okay, they got rid of 1 Renin 6. They're going to 7. One extra mana. I could have played the extra ring last turn. Possible I should have done that instead of untapping this ring. Oh, this is an interesting attack, right? I mean, that puts SHEOLDRED into bolt range. I think I'm just not going to block. I don't think going to 15 matters. And like keeping the token alive forces them to minus the Renin 6 on the token. And I don't want the SHEOLDRED to just die to a bolt. But it looks like they are just hard casting the Archon without using their Renin 6. So kind of an interesting play from our opponent. We can discard a Watery Grave, and they're going to lose 2 here from drawing their card. And they have a sack and artifact. Do I care about that? I think I do. I don't think they have Fatal Push, so I'm going to Force Negation this. Because this is just so many cards if we can keep it alive. But maybe this is stupid, but the thing is they can just Force Negation on my turn anyway. I don't know. Okay, they get Iron Mesa back. And they pass the turn, okay. Okay, lose 2 life, gain 10 life. Pretty cool. And I think they're just going to be dead here. Petty Theft on their Archon. I don't think there's a reason to attack their Renin 6, so yeah, let's just attack this. They're looking for a token, I guess. But let's just Fatal Push the token. There we go, and we can play a Delta and pass the turn. Prefer to just leave up all my mana here rather than, you know, casting another ring or something. They go to 1. And it should be pretty tough for them to win from here. It's the power of the one Brazen Borrower we brought in, huh? Giving us a nice answer to the Archon there. Obviously, we still would have had the Sheoldred's Edict, right? But this is also nice against Edict effects when you don't have that many creatures in your deck. You know, for late game, this can maybe protect your Sheoldred from Edicts or something like that. This has been quite an interesting game. Hope you guys are enjoying it at home. To Fairy, obviously we'll counter it because we can't counter anything else otherwise. And the opponent does have a lot of cards in hand, but no, that's it. So GG's, very interesting matchup against Creativity, hard fought, but we do take a 2-0, and we'll see you guys in round 2. Okay, we're back just for the start of round 2. Let's see what happens. Another opponent I'm not sure I'm familiar with, GSX, or GS, what X is around it, I don't know. Hand is totally fine. This is kind of like having a preordain, right? Having an Undercity Sewer. But I think I would like to start the passing with the Flooded Strand. We might want to, you know, Fatal Push a Ragavan and then untap or something like that. Oh, no, I suppose if they play Ragavan, we're just gonna Bowmasters it in our turn, right? But so yeah, let's do start with the Undercity Sewers. Just get our top land out of the way. And it is a Watery Grave. I don't feel like I need a 4th land right now. But at the same time, we have no card draw, and that does guarantee we get to 4 mana for our ring. So I'm going to keep it on top, even though it's not very exciting. We've no Murktide or anything in this list where it would benefit us to just kind of like turbo cards into the graveyard, right? So it's not an actively bad draw, so I'm going to keep it. I don't know. I think it wouldn't be a mistake to put that in the graveyard for sure. Let's see what our opponent's doing over there. We did win the die roll again, which I think I got a pretty good record at so far in these videos. And we have Forest Springleaf Drum, so I'm assuming it's Affinity and they drew their like 1 basic forest or whatever. Who knows if that's a good assumption. I'm just going to play Flooded Strand and pass the turn. Although, do they have basic forest at the moment in Affinity? Very cool art. Oh, it's Therese Nielsen art. I thought they'd be base blue these days because of the Simulacrum synthesizer. Maybe it's Hardened scales. That's probably more likely. Okay, so they have a Ravager. And they're going for Zabaz. So in response, let's kill a Ravager. So they can't get any value out of the modular. And probably just going to untap and kill the kill this with the Bowmasters right away. Obviously, they can get another one off the 3rd Saga trigger, but I just don't want to have to worry about, you know, them bringing in another creature to play with it or whatever, or play an Affinity card or something. I know that's unlikely, but it also would give them use of the Springleaf Drum mana again. Yeah, so I think I'm just going to do this at sorcery speed. Let's just get rid of this. And play another Delta and pass the turn. So our kind of unexciting hand has worked out perfectly here. We've gotten to use our push and our Bowmasters as removal. And we get to get our 3rd Undercity Sewers of the game here. And it's another Fatal Push, we'll definitely keep that. Okay, and Just going to tap out for the ring here. They're not going to be able to kill us through this, so let's just get the card draw going while we can. Obviously don't want to attack into their, 2/2, 3/3 construct that they can make, 2/2. Oh, it would be 3/3 actually, because they could activate the Nexus down. Not that it matters, but always good to be aware of these things. Okay, and they're just going for the construct route. We do have another Fatal Push, which is nice. It would be sweet to... Oh, they're just naming the ring with this? Okay, well, at least we got a card off it. Maybe something I should have thought about when jamming the ring there. Okay, they go for Hardened skills. And it's another Saga. Wow, this could be tough to deal with, the double Saga opener. I do have an Otawara if I desperately want to use the ring. But it's just going to be pinging us for a life a turn for the moment. Not really interested in casting Jace here, I don't think. Probably prefer just to keep up subtlety. Force negation doesn't do a whole lot. I suppose that's something that I am interested in just looting away with Jace though, right? Because like holding up subtlety next turn, they're probably just going to make a construct anyway. So yeah, let's just loot, see what happens. We still have Fatal Push up. Draw, discard. And yeah, I'll get rid of Force Negation. Playing an island is nice, lets us keep the Otawara in hand. And we can pass the turn. Presuming they'll attack with both constructs on the Jace, so no reason to kill one at sorcery speed here. In terms of, I don't think they'll be using it for that. They do attack with both. So let's just block one here. And Fatal Push the other one. So our Merfolk Looter lives for another turn. Okay, Ancient Stirrings. Playing a Boseiju doesn't really do anything against our deck. If they have Shadow Spear, one thing we gotta watch out for is they can use the Shadow Spear ability to make our One Ring lose indestructible, and then they can actually Boseiju it to kill it. They find a Soul Cauldron, that is annoying. But they're gonna hold up making a construct instead of using it. And we'll lose another life. So this is a situation where I'm like, does Valki even win the game here if we draw it? It's, I'm not too sure about that. Okay, so just loot again with Jace. And not so exciting here. I think we just ditch Preordain maybe? Or do I just ditch the Otawara? The Otawara is pretty good, it just kills a construct, right? Maybe the Subtlety is what we get rid of. That does block an Yawgmoth Nexus at least, but we can also just kill the Yawgmoth currently with his Bowmasters. Like that's kind of why I want to keep the Bowmasters, is just to ping this guy, and it creates chump blockers. But I think we do need to find a Valki, so like, am I crazy? I think I am going to get rid of Subtlety. I think this card's just not very good. Like obviously when they go to play a Ravager it'll be good or whatever, but that could be in like 2-3 turns time. SHEOLDRED is, however, pretty good. But the only question is, can I play it here now? Does that leave me possibly dead to an Yawgmoth next turn? Like that's quite likely because they can get Ozolith. And then if they just have a Ravager or whatever, we're just going to be dead. The question is that something we can afford to play around? And I'm not really sure of the answer, to be honest. I think the answer is yes. I don't think we have to play SHEOLDRED this turn. I'm just going to pass. Yep, make a construct. Okay, make another construct. Probably means we're not dead, at the very least. And equip Lava Spur Boots. Very cool card from the new set. Makes construct tokens, I think, a lot scarier, and they're going face with everything. I think Otawara is just the play here on this guy, right? Oh, it has Ward 1, so I actually can't do it on that one. 7 + 6 is 13. I don't want to take that much, man. I think I'm just going to play this and like chump all their guys. Or like at least 2 of their guys. So we can go chump, chump. I think I just chump all of them. I think my life total is pretty important here. Considering we're taking 1 every turn from the ring. I gotta block at least 2 of them. So I would just prefer to be under like a little less pressure, I think. Find a preordain. So here, if I play SHEOLDRED, I don't have enough mana to Otawara. But I can preordain and loot with Jace. That'll give me 4 life. I'll go up to 17. On my upkeep, that'll be 16. And then I can block the biggest construct. And probably, well, actually probably not survive, right? Because they have 4 cards in hand and they can activate Yawgmoth. So I think playing SHEOLDRED here actually doesn't do it either. So I think I'm going to start by looting Jace. Find another Jace, not ideal. Okay, let's preordain. Bottom, bottom. Counterspell is not the answer, man. Okay, that's game. Let's go to the next one. I'm happy to just save a little bit of clock. So tough game against Scales. How we want to sideboard here. Dress Down is obviously extremely good against all our creatures, as well as Urza Saga just wipes the constructs. Stern Scolding counters all other creatures, so that's pretty nice. I think Force is pretty horrible. Their spells are just so cheap that this is just going to be a disaster. Like One Ring's not going to be great because they're going to have Pick Your Poisons and Pithing Needle and Boseiju plus Shadow Spear probably. Damnations look probably pretty great. Brazen Borrowers, pretty fine. This is kind of an interesting one. Start by taking out the Force Negations. Archmage's Charms like steal all their creatures, which isn't bad. Counterspell is just looking expensive against them, man. But I mean, I think the way you win against them is just counter a few key things or kill a few key things and then hope they just don't recover. I don't think the Edicts are very good against them, which is pretty awkward, but we can probably cut the Edicts. Definitely want the Dress Downs, definitely want the Stern Scoldings. I mean, yeah, the subtleties are just, again, it's like, you know, you're using this on a 1-drop or a 2-drop. It does not feel good, and most likely a 1-drop. I think the Brazen Borrowers do look better. Quite good against the modular abilities when they're moving stuff around. I think we want to bring in the Damnations first of all, though. Bowmaster's obviously not doing much. I didn't even think about that. I don't know if we want to cut all of them because they do make good chunk blockers, but let's have a look at what it looks like. What about all the Brazen Borrowers over the Bowmasters? Or maybe Edicts are better than Bowmasters. I'm not sure. You know, at least in the early game, this is just going to be like kill your one guy or whatever, hopefully, right? It just gets a lot worse once they have an army of tokens. This also doesn't get Yawgmoth, which is important to have answers to. So I think let's go with this configuration here. Maybe I'm wrong and Subtlety is good in the matchup, but I just feel like the mana trade or like trading or, you know, 2 for winning yourself against a 1-drop is just feels so bad. Okay, I think the sound is pretty good. We have a counterspell turned on super early, as well as, you know, turn 4 Ring or turn 4 Jace, whatever we think is good. 2 tap lands, not exactly ideal. And they have to turn 1 Scales rather than a creature as well, kind of annoying. That is a Preordain. Let's just play the sewers here. Second Jace, definitely not what we want, so happy to throw that in the bin. This is the issue with the Jace like combo thing, is that like, you know, turn 4 Jace, turn 5 Valki doesn't even feel like it'll be very impactful against Scales, so I think this is probably just a rough matchup unless we draw exactly the right cards. Do get to counter a Walking Ballista here, which is nice. But we're not very good at dealing with the Soul Cauldron thing either. Possible I should have a Cling to Dust just to maybe take out the targets for that, but that seems pretty mopey as well. Do I want to Preordain here? I don't think so. I think I just want to leave up Edict, even if they are likely to just hold up the Construct thing. You know, I'll still be happy to just play a Preordain next turn and hold something up. That is what we're seeing. So let's go to Preordain. Damn, man. Okay. Another Jace. At least that's the last Jace on the bottom. We're not going to see any more Jaces until we shuffle our library. They make a construct. No point really, you know, killing it at that point, I don't think. It's not like they have a drum in play or anything like that. Okay, and let's kill the one that is not summoning sick. Creature token. Just to save ourselves a little bit of life this turn. Let's see what they get. Probably the Ozolith, I would imagine. Could be Pithing Needle on the Ring. Second Welding Jar is what they go with, okay. And Echoing Deep as another Saga. These Hardened Scales players love this Echoing Deeps, I've noticed. Okay, does that mean they have Needle like in hand or something? I'm going to play Jace. And I am going to loot. Gonna get rid of Counterspell here. Just past the turn, I can think about stealing this guy at start of combat. But at the same time, I'm like, do I care about my Jace dying? I don't know. It's kind of cool here because they might activate something like use mana to make this a 4/4. Okay, there's a Zabaz. How much do I care about Zabaz? Not very much. Again, something I can steal, right? So, okay. I think I'm going to try and steal this guy. Give me the token. So it's a lowly 1/1, but it'll be able to jump block for us. This is nice. They're letting us untap with the Edict before they make a construct here. Yep, let's just loot again. Kind of want all this stuff. It's annoying. I'm going to get rid of Counterspell again. Counterspell is just pretty bad in this matchup, I think. And here we can go to pass. Okay, then in response, while they're tapped out, let's make them sacrifice Zabaz. So they can't get any use from the modular. Oh, well, they can choose to put it on our guy if they want. That would be nice. And then I'm hoping they make another construct, put Lava Spur Boots on it, and attack Jace with both, and then I can bounce the guy they put the Lava Spur Boots on. Uh-oh, they heard me. Okay, they didn't hear me. So let's see what they get. This time they go for Needle, probably on Jace, huh? At least that's something I can bounce if I even want to, man. If I even want to. Jace has not seemed too impressive so far in this matchup, right? Okay, so Ballista on 1. That's okay. Killer at 1/1. That's fine. They go face, like, again, even if we draw Valki here, it's not good enough, right? That's the issue. So I think I'm just going to get rid of this construct. And hopefully they don't have a second Needle, but I would say they very likely do. So we've kind of slowed the bleeding as much as possible against this deck, but not drawing Dress Down is like a little bit rough. Okay, I mean, that's pretty good too. But do I want to leave that up, or do I want to just jam the ring? Or steal the 5/5? I think I'm just going to jam the ring. They get to kind of attack our Jace for free, but who cares? There's a Needle on it anyway. Find a Preordained, may as well use it. A Failed Push and a SHEOLDRED, I don't mind either of those. Let's keep both of those. Last turn. Gemstone Caverns, not doing much. Hardened Scales, not doing much here either. They can make a big Ballista, but that's about it. It'll still get... oh, well, it won't get Fatal Pushed actually, right, because of Welding Jar. But we can Archmage's Charm it. And then they'll have to sack it in response. Yeah, Jace dies, that's fine. And we get to untap and use the ring again. Much better than we did last time. Could have played the SHEOLDRED, but I think... oh, okay. So... Damnation, they just use both their Welding Jars, right? But... still seems like the play. Just make them use them. Put our Brazen Bar over down here so I remember. Okay, and they're not going to use the Welding Jar. They're actually going to let at least the Ballista die. And then maybe save the Construct. Is that the play? No, they just let both die. Okay. Interesting. So they only have one card in hand, but they do have 2 Yawgmoths here, so maybe that's the plan. They're just like, we're going to get him with an Yawgmoth anyway. We do have an attack with the Yawgmoth coming up, just with the 1. Okay. Do I care about taking one poison? I kind of just want to use my mana, so I'm going to Fatal Push. They probably just let this die too, right? Or do they care about this? Tamiyo safekeeping, sure, okay. Good to know they have it. And was that the draw, or were they really just not bothered about saving those creatures, like, at all? So I would have presumed you would maybe want to save those guys. Okay, go to 11, get an Undercity Sewers. Put a Watery Grave in the bin. Lose 2, go to 9. Found a Fatal Push, pretty nice. Now I kind of am interested in playing our SHEOLDRED before we ring here. So draw 3 cards, gain 6 life. Dress Down's a nice draw. Okay, so we can just pass the turn. We can't really do much to the Automaton here because of the Ward 2. I mean, I could Fatal Push it, but again, they have 2 Welding Jars, so what's that really going to do? Okay, Urza Saga. Making me wish I had Spreading Seas in my deck or something. Okay, they play an Yawgmoth. They play an Yawgmoth. This is kind of a good spot for Dress Down, right? Or do I wait on it? I think I wait on it because it can kill the constructs. I can also steal it. Oh no, non-land permanent. Never mind, I didn't say that. I'm a pro Magic player, I never get things wrong. Okay, let's go for a Fatal Push. And they do use a Welding Jar. Okay. So one of their guys gets removed from combat, and we take 1 poison. Going to 2. And the poison kill is probably looking the most likely for them at this stage, considering we're going to be gaining a boatload of life from SHEOLDRED every turn. So draw 4, gain 8, up to 22. There is a Valki. We can actually just slam the Tybalt now. But I don't feel like that's actually really the way to win here, probably. Although we don't have all that much to do with our mana, even apart from that. Oh, we do, because we can cast this for 3. Archmage's Charm for 3, and then another 2 on a Dress Down or something. Yeah, so that's fine. So let's just pass. I'm not interested in attacking just yet. I feel like we'll be able to end the game at our leisure once we kind of deal with this final Urza Saga as a threat. Let's just yield to this ability. Okay. I'm just going to cast Edict here. Have you sacrifice a non-token creature. You can activate the other one and sack that if you want as well. I just want to get one of their creatures off the battlefield here. I don't really care what it is. Okay, they go with Patchwork. So let's cast our Brazen Borrower from Adventure. Go to blocks and see if they want to spend the other Welding Jar. They do. That is fine, so we lose Brazy B. And let's fetch here. Get our last Undercity Sewers. Put a land in the bin. Still have a land to play next turn anyway. And we're losing 4 down to 17. And then we're drawing 5 and going up to 29. This is the power of SHEOLDRED. Okay, and now we got a lot we can do. I can just cast Valki, but there's not actually that many good targets, to be honest. Start by playing a Delta, right? At this point I could cast a new ring to just not get super cocky and just die for no reason. We have 4, 5, 6, 9 mana. Tibble costs 7, so we'll still have Dress Down up. I think that's a fine play, to be honest. Get a Swamp. Let's cast Tibalt. Given we have a Jace in hand, I'm kind of tempted to take away the Pithing Needle. So we can also then recast it ourselves on Yawgmoth. I don't know if I want to do that right now, though, exactly. No, I think I just want to leave Dress Down up this turn. Okay, so again, let's pass. Might be taking this game, you know, too conservatively, considering they're down to 1 card, but I still think it's pretty easy for us to lose this. Like, Yawgmoth can kill you sort of out of nowhere. Let's get rid of a Watery Grave, and a Polluted Delta, and a Jace. And we are down 3 minutes on the clock, but I don't really see clock being a factor here, right? I don't think it's going to make much of a difference. What are they doing? Oh, they forgot they were in their upkeep. Okay, so here they go, doing this. Sure. Like I was thinking, do I want to cast Dress Down in response there? But I would prefer them to activate their Yawgmoths. Second Needle. This one's probably on Tibalt, huh? Oh, it's on the 1 ring. Okay, well that's fine. Doesn't really do much. Sorry about the game log not scrolling. That's just Magic Online doing what it does. It gets stuck sometimes. Okay. And this is going to be a nice Dress Down. Attack with both, huh? Yep. So we Dress Down. Everything loses abilities. That means that Yawgmoth loses Flying and Infect. They can actually activate it again, though. Right? Oh, no, they can't because it loses that ability as well. That's funny. So, and it kills their constructs. To block that. They're going to give it Indestructible, I guess. No, they just let it die. And we get to untap. We're going to go down to 23. Play Manamo. I can't believe they didn't do this on Tibalt, but it is what it is. We find a hanger back from the top of their deck. I'm just going to attack them now. We're just going to try and end the game. Because I can untap SHEOLDRED too with Manamo. Play a hanger back for 1. And yeah, I can just pass. I think we can take another 5 from the ring. I just want to hold up more counterspells. I can even kill this at some point to make a flyer. They're still going for it here with these Yawgmoths. That's impressive. Arcbound Ravager, let's counter that. Don't want that in play. Sure. And if I die from here, I'm a monkey's uncle. Okay, they attack Tibalt. I mean, I can still minus and get their thing, right? What is happening? They activated it again for some reason. Okay. Did they think that gave double infect or something like that? Okay, we untap. We go down to 20. And Attack you for 5. Let's plus with Tybalt again, see what happens. It is a Baz, we can play that. Play Ottawara, and now we have a Fatal Push in the bank as well. So it seems like they're just trying to clock us here or something like that, but they're on 11 as well. It's not like they have a huge time advantage. But I guess if anyone's gonna time out in this match, it probably is us. And another Yawgmoth. But looks like they're just passing the turn. And here we go, just attack with everything. Activate an Yawgmoth. Let's Fatal Push it. They go to save it with something. Let's counter it. It's their last card. That is going to be them dead. So we go to game 3. They're dying, obviously, here to the SHEOLDRED trigger on their upkeep. Or on their draw step, rather, not on their upkeep. There we go. And game 3. So, yeah, multiple Pithing Needles. They do have Soul Cauldron, but I still don't think Link to Dust is that good. Bowmaster's obviously not doing much. Subtlety I still think is too expensive. Counterspell is just too expensive as well, though, right? Maybe I just want to remove these and bring in Brazen Borrowers, just as something that affects the board. And maybe we do want like 2 Force Negations or 2 something instead of that. I don't know. I'm not really liking this, to be honest. I'm not really liking how this looks like it's going to go. I think let's just submit like this. I don't think Subtlety or Force looks that impressive. The old Edict double Jace opening. I'll keep it. We got 2 Surveil lands here to even out our draw. So, not too bad. Okay, they got a Drum opener. No 0 drop, though. Play our Sewers. And Stern Scolding's a good one. It doesn't look ideal if they go Saggy here, and then this is the only turn they play a creature for like 4 turns, but it is what it is. And that is indeed what happens. Okay, I'm going to just SHEOLDRED's Edict them right now, so they can't use the Springleaf Drum mana. Got a Shotgun, a Watery Grave there in case we draw Archdruid's Charm. Can't play the basic Swamp yet. And drawing another Jace, also not ideal, but so it is. I don't know what this land does. Okina, Temple to the Grandfathers. Green tap, target legendary creature gets +1/+1 till end of turn. Okay. Turn 3, let's preordain. I like both of these, and now we can play our basic Swamp and pass. Don't want to play a fetch land because I kind of want to draw that One Ring. And here, when they make a construct, I am just going to SHEOLDRED's Edict, I think, before they untap. So once again, so they can't use Springleaf Drum mana. Sacrifices a creature token. There we go. And we'll get to deploy Jace this turn, but who knows what they get here. I presume they would just get like the boots or something, but maybe it's Needle. Yeah, they get the boots. Second Saga, man. These sagas are just killer against us. Okay, and they get to attack for 4. It's a pretty big attack. Alright, draw the One Ring. Just jam that. Let's get an island to preserve the life total here. And hopefully they don't naturally have Pithing Needle in hand. That would really suck. Draw a card. And it's a Brazen Borrower. That's pretty good. It's a nice way to deal with this big construct. Pendelhaven doesn't do much. And no attack, I guess. Oh, we have Ring Protection. I'm an idiot. Once again, draw 2. Fatal Push is nice. Let's play Jace. Plot our Valki. We're actually getting to do this for once. Play a land. So they can get Pithing Needle, but they're their Pithing Needle sort of targets, quote unquote, are pretty stressed here now. And we do have, and what can I do here? I'm just going to Fatal Push this guy. They let it happen. You know, they got to deal with the One Ring, they got to deal with the Jace, they got to deal with the Tybalt, so they can do that for sure, but they got to decide what to name, and then we can just bounce it anyway, so. See what they get. They could name Polluted Delta too, I suppose. I should have cracked, but I think that would be very aggressive in the face of the Tybalt. Look, their Urza Saga created a DREDDY MTG. They're thinking about it. Do they want to take the Delta? I would respect it. But yeah, I should have cracked this for an island. At the same time, though, it's like, I kind of want a red source at some point. They do name Tybalt. And we are going to lose Jace. Now, I can still play Valki. Or just bounce this and... Whoa, they got... Oh no, they're switching the boots. I thought they had 2 copies. Okay, clever. They get to attack with both. And they're just going face. Okay. So yeah, if they have the protection spell, they got us here. But I'm not going to cower it out and try to get rid of the Lava Spur boots instead, because I should have done that pre-combat if I was doing it. Okay, that does work. Go down to 3. I mean, yeah, we got into 3 from the ring, is what I meant. And... I mean... We're kinda dying pretty fast here to the ring. So I gotta find SHEOLDRED. I'm gonna start by looting with Jace. Archmage's Charm. Doesn't really help us. Second Jace also doesn't really help us though, so let's get rid of that. So with the ward 1, it is 3 mana for us to kill this. I can then, like, just play a Valki. Or what I can do is just bounce the Pithing Needle, play Valki for free, get rid of their token for 1. That's 3 mana total. That leaves us with 2 mana, and the ring would put us to 1. We got 40 cards in our deck. I'll be drawing 3 cards from the ring to find either another ring or a SHEOLDRED to save us. This is pretty complicated. This is what happens in control decks of modern late game. You just have so many options what you could do. I can also just play Valki as Valki side, see what's in their hand, maybe take a creature, jump block the construct. But I'm kind of unsure how we're supposed to win the game then, to be honest. I'm activating the ring. I want power. I want all the power. The Dark Lord. Okay, we didn't get there. That's rough. We did find Fatal Push. Is there any way out of this? I can play Valki and exile our One Ring still. So that would be Brazen Bar over this, play Valki, and then we have Fatal Push for this. Okay, so that is now the plan. That is now the plan. This is getting a bounce. We'll cast Tybalt. We will exile the One Ring. And I will get a basic island, and we will recast the One Ring. So we're going to lose our Tybalt. We have the ring. And I guess I just really need to find a SHEOLDRED now. Pretty cool line. And we found Damnation. So they kill Tybalt, we get to keep Jace. They Pithing Needle the ring, or they Pithing Needle Jace. And then we still gotta find another answer for our own ring, which is quite funny. This is a close game. Opponent says cool sequence. It's always nice when the opponents recognize the cool stuff you're doing. Let's see if they just have a questing beast to kill us or something. That would be okay, this is just going to kill us on our upkeep. Very nicely done. Okay, and they named the One Ring. Is there anything I can do to gain life at instant speed? I don't think there is. But I think this is going to be game and very well played to the opponent. Maybe they'll let us draw. Do you think they'll let us draw? No. Let's draw 2 cards for the crack. Yeah, I suppose we just needed to find SHEOLDRED there, right? But there just wasn't a SHEOLDRED. GG's. Okay, so that's going to be the end of that one. Very close matchup against Scales. I think it's a tough matchup. Maybe we could have found some way to win this, but I don't know. I tried my best, guys, but see you in round 3 anyway. Okay, guys, we're back for round 3 of this prelim. Pretty obvious mulligan. Just 1 basic island is not going to cut the mustard here, as well as cards we can't cast until turn 4 anyway. This looks much better. It's a question of what I want to keep. I think ditching the counterspell is maybe kind of giving up a little bit. We won't be able to cast till turn 3 though. But maybe... Okay, let's just get rid of Jace. I mean, we just can't cast Jace early game anyway, so there's probably no reason to overthink it. And depending on what the opponent plays, maybe we'll even try and sneak in the Preordain next turn, although I doubt it. Okay, looks like we're against, say, most likely to be Yawg, basic Swamp. And against Yawg, I definitely want to just leave up Bowmasters and pass. Don't need that stop. Although maybe there was an argument for preordaining before they had Bowmasters mana up themselves. Drew another Jace, so never punished on that front. Blooming Marsh into Wall of Roots, sure. To Yawgmoth, sure. So, may as well play out our Bowmasters and put the Undying counter on the Wolf. And no land here, but hopefully Preordain gets us there. It does not, unfortunately, so we're just going to be passing. And a little bit awkward on the multi-6 here, kind of punished by some of the more awkward cards in our deck, the Xander's Lounge and the basic Swamp. I could see not playing Xander's Lounge at all, and just playing an extra Lorien Revealed or an extra Fetch. Not that that would have really helped us here, but you know. And we're just seeing them grist and do stuff. think this match is unlikely to go our way already, I would say. I would probably trade here if you attacked. Yeah, and they realize it. Okay, find our Lorien revealed. Let's just get a basic island. I want to preserve our life total here. And yeah, let's just pass. Let's leave up the counterspell. Their grist is just going to be grinding away, making 1/1s here, I suppose. No damnation in the main deck. So we're gonna kind of have trouble with a very wide board here. 2 creatures in the graveyard so far. So we're still very far away from being in danger of dying to the ultimate, but always something to keep in mind, especially when you're like a 1-ring deck that's losing life. Okay, they're thinking about something. They just got a combat. Happy to just block with my token here. I would think with Cord and Yawg in their deck, they would want to keep these 1/1s alive. Surprised to see them trade one off. And I mean, I'm just going to play another Bowmasters here. They likely have Cord or something, but I think we're behind and I can't just keep playing very passively. Okay, no Cord. Could still have it, of course. And Jace here is not doing much. We could plot an Archmage's Charm or something like that, considering that it's uncastable right now. But I think I prefer to just keep up Counterspell. And maybe save this Jace until I have a Valki in hand to plot straight away. Deck is looking pretty clunky this round with these draws, I will say. It's not the most smooth game for us so far. They go for another Surveil land. Get rid of a Boseiju. Doesn't do anything against our deck. I wonder what's in their hand that they're not really progressing so much. So, you know, can't be Cords. Could be a SHEOLDRED, I suppose. There's another Yawgmoth. Care about that? Not really. They're hitting all their land drops. They could just be flooded. Soul Cauldron in the bin. Could be a Soul Cauldron that they just haven't had a target for yet. And this looks like the Cord here. That'd be pretty nice if they play it their turn, gives us an opportunity to force the negation something. And then it's a question of, do I pitch the uncastable charm or do I just hard cast it? So it would be nice, you know, to then have a counter spell up or something like that, depending how much mana they spend. Okay, and they're going for Eldritch Evolution. So yeah, this one I'll just hard cast Force Negation. They're down to 1 card now. So this game is going better than it should be for us, I would say. I would say against the average Yawg draw, we're probably already lost this game. Okay, and they do want to attack. Again, I think I'm pretty happy here to trade off. Is their last card a Bowmasters? And I think that's probably it, right? Their last card is a Bowmasters and they want us to double block and lose something. So I just won't block. I think that's too good to be true. Maybe not, though. Okay, we find a Jace, and I don't know, man. Maybe I can still put off doing anything for a turn, but I think we really need to hit our land drop, so I'm going to cast Jace here. They read the card. Now it's a case of if they do have the Bowmasters, we kind of get punished here, so I could consider plotting the Archmage's Charm instead. But if they do have Bowmasters, then they just get us next turn anyway with that, right? Okay, looks like they don't have it. I'm gonna get rid of the Archmage's Charm. It's just too mana intensive. Even though the rest of our hand isn't particularly castable either, you know, I still think it's too ambitious to keep that guy. What are we even gonna do with it? You know. Okay, so they are now attacking everything on Jace, so I don't think they have a Bowmasters, considering they didn't last turn. So I think I am going to block enough to kill one Yawgmoth. Oh, I'm an idiot. They just have a Pendelhaven on board. Oh, well, not an idiot, but I could have saved the Jace if I wanted to by jumping. But I think I'm still pretty happy with that, just getting rid of a Yawgmoth. Okay, and they mill a cord. 3 creatures in the graveyard, still quite low. Sorry if you can hear a little cat complaining here. She's devastated that she's stuck in this room with me. Decided that she simply must go into the other room. Okay, another wall roots, not a big deal. So they just have a million mana and nothing to do with it. It's the story of the game. Hold up counter. I think what I want to do now is actually just make them sacrifice their grist. And let's just hold up a counter spell, right? Oh my gosh, boy. What's going on? Yep, let's just pass. Let's just leave up counter spell. Just wait for the Valki before we play this other Jace. It's just going to get pressured too much anyway. Okay, sorry about that. Just tending to the little cat. And the opponent is getting in for 4 here. Not a big deal. That grist kind of did a whole lot of nothing, right? Just milled a bunch of cards and didn't really get anything accomplished. Probably would have used it to kill the Bowmasters at some stage, just because it could be annoying for them. They just have another one, but we do have the counterspell this time. And we're holding on somehow this game. Okay, considering they've gone through 2 grists, I'm just going to slam SHEOLDRED and hope it's good enough, I think. Pass the turn, and we'll get our Undercity Sewers. And look for a Valki. Having the Bowmasters in play as well as a SHEOLDRED makes it pretty tough for them to do that much with Yawg. As well as the fact that we got to kill one of the young wolves earlier. Hey, where am I? Okay. Annoying if we draw the ring, but it doesn't do anything apart from that. Forgot to fetch there, just click through my turn. Whoops. But that's okay. Let's play Jace. And let's loot. Get rid of a land. And let's preordain. Don't need another SHEOLDRED. Don't need an Archmage's Charm either. I'm just looking for Valki at this point, I think. And SHEOLDRED's Edict is a good draw. Well, not really. I was thinking it's a good draw if they draw another grist, but they still get to kill our guy at that point, so it's not really too exciting if they find another grist. Pretty bad draw, actually, but at least it's a way we get to use our mana. Okay, Gilded Goose, again, just doesn't really do much. And am I even supposed to use this Sheoldred's Edict when they have so many crappy creatures to sacrifice, or am I supposed to save it for a third Grist? We still don't have that much mana. I've missed so many land drops this game. I kind of... Well, let's just loot it away with Jace, actually. That's probably better. What is going on? They want to... No, they have 0 cards in hand. I was saying they want to turn on Fatal Push, maybe? Just attacking Jace with everything. And... We can... Oh, it will die here, right? Actually, right? Because of the... Well, no, let's kill the Haywire Might, and they can kill the Jace off. We can't save it due to the Pendelhaven, so... May as well just kill the most annoying creature. This time I will remember to use this. Tend to only one Jace in the deck, but we're getting up to the mana where we could just cast the Tibalt if we drew it. Do not want a Delta. Just looking for the One Ring now, to be honest. Hopefully they don't find a Cauldron after we find our ring. That would be super annoying. We can also start attacking with Sheoldred now. I can give it Pseudo Vigilance with the Manamo, and they tapped all their power. So I presume we'll see them blocking here with maybe the smallest Waller Roots or something like that. Yep. And again, I gotta say I'm amazed that we're in this game. I think the opponents had a very poor draw to not steamroll us, to be honest. They do have a bunch of life gain. They do have a super wide board with a million blockers, so it's going to be annoying for us to try and win this. I don't think they have Fatal Push in the main deck, right? I'm not going to play around it. I think they probably just didn't realize this was going to happen. Okay, they're down to 4 non-token creatures. Hapatra. Okay. Doesn't have Dead Touch, right? No, it doesn't have Dead Touch itself. Get another Undercity Sewers. Again, these surveils just saving our bacon, man. Put another land in the bin. Giving us multiple redraws this long ass game. We're already on turn 10. We do draw a basic island though, man. We're just drawing so many blanks. We are up to 7 mana now with the red source. If I do draw Valki, I can just cast the Tibbletaff, which is cool. Okay, put them to 13. And they're creating a food, that's fine. So kind of still just a standoff here. We are slowly dealing a little bit of damage to their life total, but they should just have better... Like, they just need a draw to a Yawg and we're in big trouble, right? Okay, again, I don't really see a reason to cast this Edict. Okay, second Sheoldred is cool. In fact, we can attack. Oh, they only have 4 power. I know this will be 5 power at the Pendelhaven. So they're going to think that we, you know, don't realize that they have 5 power and we're going to attack with our Sheoldred as usual. And then we're going to play our second Sheoldred. Oh no! Do I care about this? Guess I'll use it. Why not? I was like, they got us, and then I was like, well, who really cares actually? This also just gives us another Surveil land trigger, which is cool. Put yet another land into the bin. This is 3 blank draw steps that these Surveil lands have saved us from. Okay, and they just jump. They don't go for the kill on the Sheoldred. Make a food, sure. Very, very strange sequence. Probably would have killed the red source over the Manamo. No, I suppose once we draw the ring, yeah, they're pretty happy for us to not have the Manamo. So it does make sense. And we're very, very slowly getting through their board of absolute chump creatures. All right. Opponent says no attacks. Or not? No, they do, yeah. Okay, and there's the Valki, so we can consider casting that. Said, like, I don't really know what it would do. I guess I would just plus it. I think that's probably the play. Just Tybalt plus. Or we could take the Hapatra, but I don't think that, really does very much. That's just plus, gives it a very healthy loyalty total for them to attack. Okay, and we hit a Bowmasters and a Yawg. They're probably fuming at the mouth to see us get that Yawg instead of them, but so it goes. And we even have a Bowmasters to go along with it to give us some sacrifice fodder. And a SHEOLDRED, man. This is just like build your own Yawgmoth deck, right? What a cool deck. And they are just drawing off the top here, one card in hand. And it was a Blooming Marsh. They just got nothing going on. Okay, it's a good draw. I'm just going to plus Tybalt again. I don't really think we need to get rid of the Hapatra this turn. We found Counterspell and another Bowmasters, man. That is kind of brutal for them, to be honest. So yeah, let's just kill some of their stuff, I think. Okay, they give up there. That was crazy. Hard cast Tybalt, winning the game. Pretty nice. So in this matchup, Stern Scolding counters essentially almost their whole deck, right? Except Grist. Does it counter Grist? It's a creature on the stack. I'm going to look this one up. I actually have no idea. Stern Scolding Grist. Oh, it's a 1/1 insect. Yeah, so it does. I was thinking, does it have power and toughness? But it defines it as being a 1/1. So Stern Scolding, absolutely goated. Dress Downs, pretty good against the all creature combo deck, I would have to imagine. Subtleties have to be pretty good, right? Dominations have to be pretty good. Force Negations, not doing anything. We're certainly getting rid of those. They got Bowmasters, so a little greedy, but I'd be kind of tempted to cut these Preordains. One Rings. I mean, they have Haywire Might. They can have their own One Ring. They can have Needle. The funny part is I think our deck is like set up kind of reasonably well against them anyway. I guess Archmage's Charm isn't so great. It's just kind of an expensive counterspell against them. And they have Bowmasters, which makes it a bit of a disaster. So this puts us up to 62. The Jace Valki thing doesn't strike me as being amazing against them, because so many of their kind of moving parts on the battlefield are just kind of crappy, you know what I mean? It doesn't get rid of Grist, which is one of the few important permanents. It does get rid of Soul Cauldron. Could consider shaving Bowmasters, but I think that's just a pretty decent, turn 2 play to have. I'm going to be really greedy and cut a couple of Preordains, man. Who cares about Preordain when we have Surveillance? See what I'm saying? We're gonna keep this. We got Fatal Push, Counterspell, a Surveil, a Subtlety, a Damnation, a One Ring when we get there. I'm not gonna say if we get there. When we get there with the power of our Surveil 1. They play Delighted Halfling. Obviously I could Subtlety that, but I think that would be slightly aggressive. But what is not slightly aggressive is giving it the old Fatal Push for sure. Watery Grave. Fatal Push. Kind of nice that we can play our tap land next turn and not worry about... Well, I was going to say not worry about much, but they can Grist, which is annoying. Okay, here they have a Wall of Roots. Is this one that I want to consider subtletying? Again, I don't think so. I think we just do it on the important spell, whatever that is. So here we can just play an island and pass. I think quite commonly here they'll be able to just pass the turn back, leaving up Chord or Bowmasters. But, you know, it is what it is. Sometimes they just slam a Yawg or slam a Grist as well, and we're happy to have Counterspell, so. Being on the draw sucks at Modern. I don't know if anyone's realized this, but it feels bad. Doesn't feel good to be on the draw. Okay, and they're slamming the Yawg, and we do have the Counterspell. So, possibly could mean they have a second Yawg in hand, if they're happy to do that. Let's just play our Surveil land here. Yeah, I'm happy to keep a Jace, I suppose. Not having another blue card here kinda stinks, but we do have Damnation if they tap out again. Walking Ballista for 1. Okay, so yeah, we're, I think, just going to blow all this stuff up. Could get the ring going too. What do I lose to if I get the ring going? Because if they play Yawg next turn, they can have 4 mana plus 1 from Wall of Roots, and then they have Chord. Or they will have Chord for 2 actually, right? Because of Hepatra, so they can get Blood Artist or whatever it is. So yeah, I'm not going to be greedy here. I am going to be greedy in the sense that I'm not going to get Steam Vents. I think that would be a bit ridiculous, but let's just get a basic island and cast Damnation. I think one of the coolest arts of any Wrath. It's just so awesome. Shoutouts to the plane shifted cards. Okay, and we get a nice clean 3 for 1 on turn 4 there, just as Richard Garfield intended. We're seeing another Wall of Roots, that's fine. And a Yawgmoth, that is also fine. Okay, opponent's down to 1 card. I'm happy here to just slam the One Ring. And say, if you got me, you got me. And let's play out our Xander's Lounge. I just want to have access to as much mana as possible next turn. We also have Subtlety up with the Jace. If they spike another Yawgmoth, I'll be happy to throw in another few cards at it. Blood Artist, I think it's fine to resolve, right? I don't think that's going to do very much. No attack, so is their last card Chord? What's going on there? Maybe it is. Oh my god, and we draw another Damnation. Okay, 3 triggers and their wolf comes back. I'll draw now just while they don't have mana for anything. Or, you know, the Chord was gone and so forth, and you know what I'm saying. Do I want to get Jace into play here? Seems like a good time. Island. Let's loot. And let's get rid of a one ring. And pass the turn. And they're going for the face. I respect it. Put us down to 8. Don't care about a wall of roots. This puts us down to 6. I guess I want to draw before I loot here. Yeah, I certainly do. Get rid of a swamp. Play another ring. Gonna draw with the ring. Okay, we find a subtlety. Let's use our surveil. Put a land in the graveyard. And I'm just gonna edict them now while they don't have Court of Calling mana up. They actually get rid of the wall of roots. They want to keep the wolf. Obviously, it's more power, and it means that, you know, they're more likely to combo because it's part of the Yawg combo. Yeah, they attack Jace. That's fine. One thing about Jace, very high loyalty, man. 2 mana investment, and then he's up on 4 mana, and you can protect him on that turn 4 or whatever. Big fan of this card. I put my money where my mouth is. I bought this guy in paper, you know. I believe in this card. I wanna make it good in Modern. Okay, and we're seeing Honest Rutstein. I am just gonna subtlety this because, honestly, because we have a million subtleties. I've seen a few Yawg players have been running this. 3 mana 3/2 when it ETBs. They get a creature back from their graveyard, and then creature cards cost 1 less for them to cast. No idea if this card's good. Seems fine. You know? An Eternal Witness only gets creatures, doesn't die to Bowmasters, and then makes your creatures cheaper, but like, Yawg's creatures are already pretty cheap, you know? Okay, we go to 5. Not seeing anything we would like to plot here. Get rid of a surveil land. I'm gonna draw. I'm a sucker. Okay, let's Fatal Push this guy. Play a Shot Clan tapped. Pass the turn. This is getting pretty close to just dying to our own ring here. We only have 1 more in the deck. Maybe I shouldn't have discarded the second one when we had 3 in hand. Yeah, well, you can just subtlety this. I suppose that's better than countering it. Starts to give us a clock. They put it on the bottom. Do I want to? I think I do just want to cycle a Dress down here. Just to draw. We find a Bowmasters. Because I kind of need to find a Valki or another ring here, or my Otawara to bounce this or something. We go to 3. I am not finding what I need here. I'm really not finding what I need here. So I actually have to play another Jace. Loot again. There's the Otawara. Okay, that's good. And is there a reason not to do it now? We can just do it on their end step, right? I don't think there's anything they can have that would interact with that. That was looking pretty close, gang. I'm gonna be honest with you. Okay. Enter their turn. Otawara on the ring. And no reason not to play out a Bowmasters here, I think. Just get Get a little bit of a increased clock going. And I imagine they have a Yawg stuck in hand at this point. Again, let's have a loot. Okay, so they have Bowmasters, I bet, I think. I'll just turn Scalding this to be mana efficient, I think, yeah. I'm not interested in any of that nonsense resolving. Let's get rid of a Polluted Delta. We can attack for 5. And I'm not even going to recast the ring this turn, I'll just leave our million counterspells up. This is 5. We can cast another Subtlety. Done, done. And then we can untap, and that will be lethal when we cast the new Bowmaster. May as well loot with Jace first. Get rid of this. Go to combat, attack. Cast a Bowmaster. That puts them to 9, and then that is 9 damage in combat. So GG's to our opponent. Unfortunate draws, it looks like. I kind of expected this to be a tougher matchup, so you know, maybe the deck just didn't perform like it's supposed to in this matchup for the opponent. Either way, our deck looked pretty sweet. Build your own Yawgmoth, and I'll see you guys in the final round. Okay, round 4. We're against Azato Yellow, who I think I've played against before, but I can't remember what they play. I have the feeling it might be Amulet for some reason. No matter what it is, we're going to be mulliganing this. One land will not do it. This land looks pretty, or this hand rather, excuse me, looks pretty decent, and we can get rid of Jace. 0 is kind of the amount you want in your opening hand, but 1 is better than 2 for sure. And we'll start off just playing our top land and passing the turn. Kind of disguising our hand here, making it look like we're, I don't know, 5-color rhinos or creativity or something. And opponent on the mull to 6. So at least, oh, pardon me, that's good fair magic, you know? Steam Vents Preordain, sure. One top, one bottom. Makes me think it's probably like a Murktide deck rather than a Prowess deck. Just because you know, I think you don't have many openers here where you go Steam Vents Preordain. Like you might be keeping the Preordain for your creature. Yeah, that's fine. Sure. Okay, so I assume they're doing something with their mana right away. Okay, they get a tap land straight away. Oh, they did target themselves, in fact. Okay, and they preordained, so this is going to be, unfortunately, a bit of a blowout for the opponent. We are going to get pretty much the most value you can get off this Orcish Bowmasters with the preordain resolving and then the bauble resolving. The bauble trigger, rather. So this is just going to show the monstrous power level of this card. And with our flash 2-drop, we are going to be attacking for 4 after pinging them twice. So, I know I said we were supposed to be a control deck, but sometimes it just doesn't turn out that way, right? Let's use our Surveil land. You can put a Misty in the graveyard. And leave up Counterspell. And so we still don't know what it is, but again, seems very unlikely it's it's a prowess deck, the sequencing would be likely look very different. But look at this monstrous 2-drop we got going on. This is just, you don't see this happen very much because most people, you know, successfully play around Bowmasters a lot of the time. Not to say our opponent didn't, you know, maybe they just couldn't, maybe that's just what their hand looked like. But, you know, when someone isn't expecting it or they have no choice but to draw their cards, this card is just an absolute beating. You know, so much so that I think a lot of the card draw and a lot of the card choices surrounding that in Modern, you have to do with Bowmasters in mind, right? I mean, Expressive Iteration, obviously a brilliant card, but one of the reasons why you're happy to jam it is because it doesn't trigger Bowmasters. It's not actually card draw. Preordain, you know, the only cantrip really at the moment that's good enough to make it worth the risk of putting it in your deck against Bowmasters. And opponent thinking here, they do have the mana to cast a Murktide. They could be considered just jamming that to be able to block the army token. It will come in as a 5/5 here. But if they do that, it's unlikely they could beat Counterspell, so maybe that's what they're thinking. If they do jam something here, it's unfortunate for them. We do have Force Negation backup with our Counterspell that I would be happy to spend, probably, just considering how fast our clock is here. They choose to just go Island Pass. It is a snow island. Don't really think you can take very much from that in terms of, you know, it meaning anything for the deck or anything. Lightning Bolt on the army. Again, kind of unfortunate here that we just drew the second Bowmasters Counterspell, and we do have the Counterspell back. So again, just kind of a blowout here for the opponent. Sadly, I feel for them. Yeah, and then that's going to be the game. So the second Bowmasters means our Bowmasters gets one bigger and survives. And that's just going to be game. You know, we're getting in for an extra damage. They're down a Lightning Bolt. They haven't managed to do much with their first couple turns, so it's tough. So I think it kind of must be Murktide, even though all we saw was Bold, Counterspell, Preordain. Yeah, those are the only cards we saw, and I don't think the snow-covered island is going to mean much. I don't know how much we want to board in this matchup. I'm thinking about it. Force Negation. Obviously not very interested in that against them. Subtleties. You know, it's good against the card Murktide itself, but we probably don't want to go overboard on it. Damnations are okay, but resolving a 4-mana sorcery against Murktide seems quite optimistic. Sheoldred's Edict seems like pretty decent removal. You know, it's all their creatures are sort of individually like valuable enough to spend a 2-mana Edict on, I think. Cling to Duft's pretty good for taking away Delirium from their Dragon's Rage Channeler, or just maybe keeping them off casting Murktide for a turn. Dress Down doesn't really do much, makes the Murktide come in smaller. Stern Scolding, you know, it works on everything except Murktide, but I don't think that's good enough. I think our boarding is going to be very light here, to be honest. I think I'm happy just taking out the 2 forces. Maybe bringing in Damnations, maybe bringing in just an Edict and a Cling to Dust. I think I'm just going to bring in the Edict and the Cling to Dust. How much do I like Subtlety? What cards do I not like? It's another way to look at it. Counterspell, not ideal. They're going to have cheaper counters probably, but it's still fine. Fatal Push is great. Jace should be fine. Bowmasters is great. Edict is fine. Valki is bad, but we need it for Jace. Archmage's Charm, not ideal, but I like being able to play at instant speed against them. Maybe a third Subtlety is better than the third Edict. I think that's pretty likely. And I do like having the one Cling to Dust. You know, if they go turn 2 Dash or Ragavan or something like that, I think I'd be pretty happy to Subtlety that a lot of the time if I had like a One Ring in hand or, you know, the Jace combo set up. This definitely seems like an easy keep, double Fatal Push hand. They don't have the turn 1 Rag. We'll just play a Scalding Turn and pass. Obviously, ideal for us here is if they dash a Ragavan. I think this is probably a pretty rough matchup for Murktide. We're a little bit light on ways to actually kill Murktide region itself, but every other card in their deck is kind of trivial for us to deal with. So I don't think I would like the Murktide end of this matchup. Gonna get a Surveil land here. Third Fatal Push is not necessary. Let's put that in the bin. Draw Jace. Not unhappy with that. And they just have nothing to do with their mana, it seems like. Wow, and again, nothing to do with their mana. So just lots of counter magic maybe we're looking at. And again, I love just passing and being able to just surveil. I do like keeping the Subtlety here. I'm gonna play the fetch here so I can play a basic if for some reason they have Blood Moons in their deck still. And then next turn we'll have Jace with Counterspell backup if we want it. Okay, and they go Shock, so I think they're holding up maybe their own Subtlety. I'll get a third Surveil land. Second One Ring is something I'm going to keep, to be honest. And I'm pretty happy to just pass the turn here, given that I have Subtlety in hand. The thing is, if I cast Jace, and they Subtlety, and I Counterspell, how happy am I with that? I think I'm just going to pass. I think I'm happy enough just passing. They Subtlety, I'm going to Subtlety in response. I think it's pretty tough to resolve our own Subtlety for 4 mana in this matchup. They put theirs on the bottom. So their hand must just be very reactive. This is probably just getting bolted here, right? Something like that. Oh, they have a White Splash. Okay, so Wear Tear, maybe Teferi. Not really sure what else we should expect. But I guess we're just attacking here. Kind of happy just to keep up double Counterspell. Don't really see a reason to tap out for the One Ring. I think we just say go. They have another one. Let's just counter this one. Very unusual to see such a sort of high CMC start from Murktide. Expressive Iteration. How much do I care? I'm going to counter this. This must have been the draw off the top, so I imagine they have a counterspell to throw back at us, but I'm happy with them just using their mana. Yeah, that's fine. That means that on our turn we're more likely to be able to play Jace or play Ring. Let's see what they exile. Snow-covered island, okay. So they hold up 2 mana. Okay, and considering we don't actually have any cheap spells to play here, I think we just, even though I said I was going to spend my mana, I think we just pass it back with Subtlety up, because I don't really like only using 2 of my mana and getting it countered with the Jace. So I prefer to just leave this guy up. Unholy Heat, okay. So yeah, their hand is starting to make sense now. They still got nothing going on here. They might have another Subtlety in hand. Oof. This is a nice one, but I can afford to wait another turn on this, I think, given that we have Subtlety. Dragon's Rage Channeler. That's fine. Just going to try and Fatal Push it. That works. We have literally 1 million One Rings, but I'm going to continue to not cast them because I think it's just too much of a tempo loss. There's the Murktide. Let's try Subtlety it. No point in holding mana up. Yeah, if we get Mystical Disputed, we get Mystical Disputed. And I think it's likely they just have Counterspell here anyway, given the way the game's played out. They do have another Subtlety. And that is fine. We will put ours on the bottom. And they get a big old Murktide. It's a 6/6. 2 cards in hand. That's a good one. That just gets rid of their damn Murktide pretty well. Let's try and resolve Jace while they're down to 2 cards. Resolves. Plot our Valki. And I'm going to just pass, and I'm going to leave up the Otawara. So, thank you, Jace. You've done your job. You're going to give us a free Valki, and you're saving us some life. And wow, we even get to spend our mana in the Fatal Push this turn. It's awesome. Yep, poor Jace is going to die. Having acted as sort of a little... He's like a shardless agent that's a planeswalker or something, you know? It's pretty sweet. Okay, Dursey dies. Lorien revealed. Okay, happy to just play a land here for sure. Let's just get an island. Play an island. And again, it's only 2 cards that they have, but I prefer to... I mean, I've cast 2 counterspells. I don't really know what I'm hoping I draw here or whatever, but... they preordain, sure. Hopefully they get greedy here and jam another Murktide. That would be ideal. Then I can get rid of this one. But they don't. Am I happy going to 11? I don't think I am. I think I do this, let them recast its second main phase. At least that empties their graveyard out. And it only comes back as a 4/4 currently. Three of a kind One Rings is a pretty expensive hand. There's a Jace. Wait. I should not tap them in ammo there. That would be silly. Okay, let's try and play a ring. They counter that. They leave a card on top. And let's play Tybalt. And exile their Murktide. Pass the turn. Now they can have Brazen Borrow or something, so it's not a freebie to cast their Murktide. But before the iteration, they're down to 1 card in hand. We still have 2 One Rings to cast, so I'm feeling pretty comfortable in the game at this stage. They exile Preordain, cast it. If they find an instant land creature here, they get to kill Tybalt. They put one on top. Okay. They're just unholy hitting Tybalt. Okay. Wouldn't you just put that in the graveyard to get Delirium? I don't know. Maybe they think that the damage is more important. I guess. Okay, I'm going to try and just jam another ring, I think. Again, while they're low on mana, low on cards. Okay, they have the Counterspell. That's number 3. Two cards in hand for the opponent. Preordain. And they're keeping one on top. Must be a real good one if you're keeping it on top with DRC. In your Murktide deck especially. 2 top as well. Okay. Dash a Ragavan. So I'm going to be taking 5. Okay, maybe I should be feeling a little less comfortable now. Going down to 9. They haven't spent any lightning bolts at all this game either, so we could be dying pretty quick. They hit a SHEOLDRED for real? Okay, let's quickly set an upkeep stop. For real? And they're casting a Murktide? They're not casting the SHEOLDRED? For really? Okay. Oh, they only had 1 treasure, of course. Sorry, they couldn't cast it. My apologies to the opponent. They're down to 2 mana, they're down to 1 card. I'm going to try and jam this friggin' ring. There we go. Finally, the 1 ring resolves. Let's draw a card. Preordain. Let's find a land. 2 lands. Looks even better. We'll go top. Top. Play this one unshocked, I mean. Tapped. Pass the turn. So they can't dash the Ragavan again. Okay. Making me wish I brought in the Damnation a little bit, but I think we're still alright. We got the ring going, we got double Edict, we got a Murktide in reserve, we've got a Jace that might do something someday. Question is, do they have like Tishana's Tidebender? Can I even do anything about that if they do? Well, I can untap with Manamo, that's cool. Okay, so I mean, that's pretty great. Let's start off with the Bowmasters. Kill your guy. Play a Swamp. Edict you sack a non-token. Cast Jace. Plot another Valki. And that's a hell of a turn, if I do say so myself. Possible it's not good enough, of course. We could just get double bolted or something. But if we don't get double bolted, I like my chances. Oh, and they forgot about the Fable, I think. Oh, that's unfortunate. So I think they just forgot we had the Bowmasters in play. Aggressively discarded 2 cards, and I think they forgot this was going to kill their token. That was maybe going to be important. Maybe not. Maybe they just needed something anyway. But still, I think this deck showed real promise in this event. Let me just bring up the deck list again for the end of the video. We had 3-1 in the end against all competitive decks. Losing to Scales? Was that the only loss? Man, listen, I'm so forgetful, I can't even remember. But I just think this deck showed off a lot of promise. I think the Valki Jace stuff, I think this is a good shell for it. Didn't really do much with Jace other than just loot. I was thinking maybe sometimes we would want to plot this. So maybe it's possible we want some other 3-mana cards, like Sauron's Ransom could be really good in the deck, actually, over some Archmage's Charms. I could see that, because that's a really nice card to plot with Jace, spend on a future turn, and actually get a Ring Bearer with like an Orcish Bowmasters or something. I'll probably try that next time. And the sideboard could definitely do some improving as well. But 3-1 in another prelim, I think that's a great result, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks.